Welcome inside the courtside. My name is Zach, and today we have a full review of the four series that have ended so far in the NBA playoffs. So those four series we're going to go over today will be the Timberwolves versus Nuggets series, the Spurs versus Trailblazers series, the OKC Thunder versus Phoenix Suns series, and the Hawks versus Knicks series. So those are four series that have wrapped up. And we had some pretty surprising results, in my opinion, especially with this Wolves Nuggets series, which is the one that I will talk about first. The Wolves won the series in 6 games, even without Anthony Edwards playing the last 2.5 games or so. If you told me before the series that Ant was going to go down right before halftime of game four and they were still going to win the series in 6 games, I would have called you crazy. I never would have seen that coming. However, big contributions from guys like Ayo Dosunmu and Julius Randle and Jaden McDaniels really carried this team to victory. They got out to the 3-1 lead, and that game four was a huge win, but a devastating loss that I think will really hurt them, especially in the second series against the Spurs coming up. Losing Ant obviously is huge. He's out for a couple weeks. Hopefully he comes back late in that series against the Spurs. But regardless, Dante DiVincenzo will not be coming back. He tore that Achilles, and you just feel awful for him. You hate to see that happen to anybody, and he's really important to this team. He's a starter, and that just sucks to see. You never want to see that happen to anybody, and obviously he's not going to come back. And so I think that is a really tough hurdle to climb. But they got over it for the last couple games of this Nuggets series, and they got the win. It was huge. Ayo Dosunmu had that huge game four. He had 43 points, but his game three, he also had 25. He was the leading scorer in game three as well. So they're going to need him to step up with DiVincenzo's absence and Anthony Edwards' absence. The whole starting backcourt is gone. So they're going to need guys like Ayo Dosunmu, Julius Randle, and Terrence Shannon actually played really well last night in that game six. I'd like to see more from him. And Jaden McDaniels keep doing what he's doing offensively and defensively. He obviously had the controversy with Nikola Jokic throughout the series and calling them all out by name, saying that the Nuggets can't defend. And I mean, he backed it up. He played well this whole series. He had 30 and 10 last night to seal it. Absolutely fantastic series from Jaden McDaniels. They're going to need him to play really well, especially on the defensive side of the ball against guys like Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle and De'Aaron Fox. And obviously Wemby, but he's not going to be tasked with guarding Wemby much, I don't think. I think that'd be more on Rudy Gobert, who had a great series this series as well. Played Jokic really well. Jokic, he's always going to get his, but Gobert did a really good job of stopping him from taking over games. And I think he's like a true X factor for this Wolves team. And they're going to go as far as Rudy Gobert takes them on defense, I think. And so they're going to need a big series from him because they're going to have their hands full with Wemby and the whole Spurs team. As far as where the Nuggets go from here, Jokic played pretty well this series. He had 25, 9, and 13. Like I said, Jokic is always going to get his. He really didn't take over any games. Gobert played him really nicely, I thought. Jamal Murray also didn't have a crazy series. People always talk about playoff Jamal Murray, and he's a big playoff riser. Didn't really get that from him this series. He only had 12 points last night. He shot 4 of 17. Not a pretty outing in game six. But, who knows what they're going to do from here. I think moves definitely have to be made. Who knows what's going to happen with Dave Adelman, the head coach. Definitely hasn't lived up to expectations in his short time there. I think it'd be a little early to do something as rash as fire him. But the front office was pretty quick to fire Mike Malone last year, just about a year and a half removed from a championship team. 3 games before the playoffs. It was a very shocking decision. So they could do it again. But I do think he will stay. I think there's definitely questions around some of the other guys, some of the more role players. I don't think Jokic is going anywhere. He's up for an extension this summer. He said he wants to stay a Nugget. I don't think that's going to change at all. I don't think we have a Giannis Antetokounmpo type of situation here. Jamal Murray, I would be shocked if anything happened with him. But, There's no guarantees in this world, especially in the NBA. So we'll have to wait and see on that. Moving over to the second series we're going to talk about, also ended last night, was the Knicks versus Hawks series. Game 6 was really ugly. That was one of the ugliest first half performances I think I've ever seen from a team, ever, honestly, especially in a playoff game, in an elimination setting. I mean, they played well in that series. I really liked the way the Hawks fought. They were up 2-1 at one point, and that should have been a close game, a competitive game, and they just got blown. Their doors completely blown off. They got ran out of the building. I could not believe it. They led, I believe it was 12-9, and then they were down 72-22, and that's just unbelievable. Only having 22 points with like 2 minutes before halftime is ridiculous, and I think some changes are probably coming on some level. I don't think the Hawks are going to overreact too much because, like I said, they did fight well. They played hard. That team is really young. They have a bunch of young players. Jalen Johnson, Zachary Richese. There's players all over the place. Dyson Daniels, that was their first playoff series or second playoff series at the most. And so I don't think they're going to start making wholesale changes. Definitely, that franchise is definitely moving in the right direction. I like where they're going. I think you would have liked to get more out of Jalen Johnson this series. Only averaged 19 points per game. CJ McCollum was really the best scorer on the team for most of the series. I feel like, especially early, those games that they won, I think CJ McCollum was the X factor in the series. It wasn't Jalen Johnson like you would have hoped coming off his first All-Star appearance. Had a great season. This is not to take away from everything he accomplished this year. He still had a great year and is a great player. I think his future is bright. But it's just a learning curve. The playoffs is definitely different from the regular season. And yeah, Nickeil Alexander-Walker did win Most Improved Player of the Year. I thought he had a pretty okay series. He didn't do great scoring-wise. You would like to see more of him on the offensive end. But he played really well defensively. I liked his game for this series. But just they got completely overwhelmed down the stretch by the Knicks. Knicks have been there, done that. Like I said, they were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. Fell to the Pacers. But tons of experience, top to bottom. Jalen Brunson, Cat, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges. Tons and tons of experience. I think this team is going to make a deep run, especially if the Celtics don't get their act together. And who knows if they even win tomorrow. They're definitely on the verge of choking a 3-1 lead. So the Knicks, I think they're definitely rooting for the 76ers tomorrow night. If they could face Philly, I think they'd be in a great position to make to Eastern Conference Finals. And honestly, I think the finals, I don't think those four teams up there, the Pistons, Magic, Hawks, and Raptors and Cavs, I don't think any of those four teams would beat the Knicks. So I think the Celtics are really the last team in their way. And even then, I'm not confident in the Celtics' ability to beat the Knicks were they to play next round. So I think the Knicks are in a great position here. I would be over the moon excited if I were a Knicks fan. Jalen Brunson playing his best ball right now, 26 points in that last series, over 6 assists. OG Anunoby had a fantastic series, one of the best series I've seen him play in his time in the league. 21 points, 8 rebounds. Fantastic series. If he continues to play like that, the Knicks are going to be a tough out for the rest of the playoffs. Moving over to these last couple series, not much to say about either of these. The Spurs took down the Blazers in 5. Victor Wembanyama had the concussion in Game 2. Pretty scary injury, but he came back in Game 4. Only missed one game. Played great. He averaged 21 points per game in this series. That is dragged down because he played a few minutes in Game 2 before getting injured. So he really averaged a little bit more than that. But, I mean, this team is just so well-rounded. Having Victor Wembanyama as, the main guy, the number one superstar on the team, and you have guys like De'Aaron Fox, an experienced guard, plays really well, can shoot the ball, and having just their depth is crazy. Having like Stephon Castle and Devin Vassell and Dylan Harper, they have the 6th man of the year and Keldon Johnson. And this team is just so well rounded, and even their centers like Luke Cornett, this team is such a well-oiled machine. and I think the Wolves have their hands full in this next series against them. I have a hard time seeing anybody beating the Spurs. And I just hope to get to play OKC. I think that would be a blockbuster, just amazing series. Those two teams, they have looked to be the two best teams in the league all year, and I think that would be the true NBA Finals. I don't think anybody from the East would beat either of those teams, if I'm being completely honest. And so I look forward, hopefully, to that series very, very much. But I don't want to, count my eggs before they hatch, because we were looking forward to the Spurs versus Nuggets series for all this time, and it didn't happen because the Timberwolves took down the Nuggets. So they have a chance. Who knows? It's the NBA playoffs. Anything can happen. And for our final series, it was OKC versus Phoenix. The Thunder swept the Suns. Not much to say here. It was a complete domination. If you're OKC, your one worry coming out of the series is the health of Jalen Williams. He battled injuries all year this year, the wrist, the hamstring. He has now injured his other hamstring, and he's out, as of right now, indefinitely. Who knows if he's going to be back for that second round series against either the Rockets or the Lakers. I think it would be great to see that series with healthy Jalen Williams and a healthy Luka Doncic for the Lakers. But we probably aren't going to get that. Doesn't appear like Luka would play were the Lakers to advance. But they have their hands full right now with the Rockets, trying not to blow that 3-0 lead. And that would just be crazy if they do that. But I don't think either of those teams would beat OKC in the second round. I really think we're headed on a collision course for OKC versus San Antonio, which would be a fantastic series. I would be so excited if that were to come true. I mean, this team, again, very much like the Spurs, is just so well-rounded. There's so much depth. Guys like A.J. Mitchell coming off the bench, Isaiah Joe, Cason Wallace. Teams would kill to have guys like this in their starting lineup, and OKC has them coming off the bench. I mean, yeah, there really isn't much to say here. The Suns got destroyed, and I think a lot of people saw this coming. In my prediction, I had OKC in 4, OKC 1-4, and so I don't think very many people were surprised by this outcome at all. That is it for today. Not a super long video, just a recap of everything that's been going on this past week or so. And I'll have another video probably this weekend once these last 4 series wrap up. We hopefully get some Game 7s. We have one Game 7 already locked in. Celtics 76ers, that is Saturday night at 7:30. Very excited for that one. Hopefully we get a few more. We have 3 Game 6s tonight, and hopefully we get some Game 7s on Sunday as well. So thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. If there's anything I can improve on, please let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later.